Welcome back to Farming Simulator, and today we're going to have a look at setting up custom vehicle configurations for missions using the Better Contracts mod, which is available on ModHub, and there is a link for that below. For some of these setups, for example, if you're going to do something where you're using multiple root crop or combine harvesters, I would recommend using stored deliveries as well to have the equipment delivered to the field. What this does is it lets you save on some space because you won't need to spawn header trailers, and also hopefully means there's enough space to spawn the equipment. If you are, after a while, getting into creating some monster setups, make sure you test them before you use them in your actual save games. I'll come on to that in a little bit. So first thing is I need to download a few mods that we need. So I have Better Contracts downloaded. I have Stored Deliveries downloaded. The other mod that you're going to need is Dynamic Mission Vehicles. And that is purely because it has some really useful information in the files. So we're going to install that as well. That's installed. So let's get out of the game and we'll have a look at the mods in a bit more detail. But when you download Better Contracts, this is what the zip file looks like. And if you go into the Mission Vehicles file, you'll see there are two files. There is basegame.xml and sample user defined.xml. You're going to need to rename that to user defined XML. Depending on how much time you want to invest in doing this, you can use this mod to completely replace all of the contract vehicle setups. That is quite a lot of work. Or you can just add in some of your favorite, vehicle configurations that you might want to use for jobs into the rotation of what's available for contracts. That's what I'm going to show you today, because otherwise we would be here for about a week. As I said, the Dynamic Mission Vehicles mod is also really useful because that has some of the information that we're going to need to edit this file in it that is not in that file. Before you add the edited version of this to an existing save game, I would suggest using a test save. We're going to need a test save anyway to get the information we need, but just do a bit of testing yourself. So we're going to need it for getting information to put into this file, so you may as well use it to check that the configuration that you've created will actually spawn completely. I have found sometimes that depending on which configurations you want to try and copy in, and I'll point those out as we go through them, you might get errors pop up and not everything will spawn. So test it before you use it in a proper save where you're worried about completing a contract. So the other really cool thing about Better Contracts, and we'll cover that as well, is it will allow you to use mods in your contract setups. And one of the setups that I'm going to go through is going to use 3 or 4 mods in the setup. And as I've said, make sure you use a test save to set up. And before you add this to an existing save, I would back it up just in case, just because you never know what's going to happen. Okay, let's get started. So my advice is to create a temporary mods folder to set this up and test things in. You're going to want Better Contracts. I would advise Stored Deliveries just for getting things set up, and then the Dynamic Mission Vehicles mod. You want to extract Better Contracts and the Dynamic Mission Vehicles mods from their zip file. So to do that, I've done Better Contracts already. To do that, right click on the mod, go to 7-zip and extract to the folder. We don't actually need to use the Dynamic Vehicles mod in game. In fact, I would recommend not loading it. So to stop that happening, all I'm going to do is delete the mod description. That will put some errors in the log file, but they are not a problem for what we're doing. And I would not recommend using that once we've been through this. Dynamic Mission Vehicles, I think, requires some edits to the map to get it to work properly. So this is really a video about Better Contracts, but we're just using some of the information in Dynamic Mission Vehicles. We're going to be using Notepad++ for most of this, and there's going to be a lot of saving, opening, closing, reloading of FarmSim. So first thing we're going to do is go into Better Contracts, and we're going to have a look at the files. So I've got my renamed user-defined file here, and I actually have an example configuration in there set up already just so that we can have a look at what it looks like. So this is set up for a fertilizing contract, and what you'll see is that missions are grouped into types and sizes. And we'll have a look at those in a bit more detail later. But so, for example, for this fertilizer setup that I've got, the mission type is fertilizer, and then we have a group that is field size small. So you have small, medium, and large field sizes, and then for things like harvesting, sowing, and grasswork contracts, you'll have another piece after this, which will tell you whether it's a grain or maize or whatever type contract, and we'll look at those in a bit. So yeah, you've got your mission type. So here, fertilize, your field size. So we have small, medium, and large, and then we have the configuration of the vehicles. So this is just an example. So I've got the base game McCormick X7 as our tractor with some configurations on there. We've got the Amazon 3-point spreader, and we've got a weight. And I'm just going to quickly load in the game and just show you what that looks like. So I have a test save on Carsden that I was using to set some of this stuff up. I actually noticed that the file that I was showing you had a little mistake in it, and I will come to that in a moment when we're doing our own setup. But hopefully we will have a fertilizing contract. There we go, field 13 with our has just vanished. Oh, that's frustrating. So we're going to clear contracts and then new contracts. More new contracts, please. Never work with children and contracts. This is part of the joy of trying to test this, is that you are dependent on the contracting gods giving you a contract with the right setup. I literally had this save poised with the contract that I needed to show you this setup, and it's vanished. There we go, field 9. We're going to borrow the items quickly, and there we go. So we've got the McCormick tractor. I had picked that it would be in the purple. I had actually wanted the narrow wheels on it, but there seems to be a funny with getting tyre configs in. Doesn't matter for contracts because you can't destroy crops. So yeah, we've got our nice McCormick tractor, we've got our Amazon crop spreader, and our random class weight. And I just picked these at random just so you could see that they weren't a base game config. So let's have a look now at creating our own custom setup. So we're going to create a silage baling contract setup. This is just an example. If you want to use other things, they will work exactly the same, and I'll show you where to get the bits you need to make other setups. I can only show you one because otherwise this video is going to be insanely long. So what you want to do is either buy or lease the kit you want to use in the contract, and this is why I say do it in a test save, because you're going to need to get some information on the kit you want. So for our silage working contract, we are going to start with one of my favorite tractors, which I don't have installed on here. So we need to install it. Okay, let's try that again. We are going to start with one of my favorite tractors, which is the Deutz 9 series. This is a mod. You see, mod. You could use the big bud as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to configure this with the Warrior engine. I'm going to leave the wheel. So I found that wheel configs are really tricky to get to work with this. So I'm just going to leave them as default. We're going to go for the new interior. We're going to go for black because I like my Deutz Warrior tractors in black. And we're going to lease that. Okay, we want some mowers. And as I have said, I want to use the Kverneland swathing mowers. So we're going to, or the Vicon. So we're going to lease those. So there we go, we've got both of those leased. We're going to use the fast bale, again a mod which we have got installed. And I'm going to change the foil color to pink. just to make it obvious that we've changed it. So we've got that leased. We probably want another tractor and we want a bale stacker. So we, if we go back into the store, we have round bales. So we're going to want the Anderson bale collector. And I think one more tractor would be a good idea to do the baling and maybe the carting for us. And we're going to go for the Deutz 7 series, I think. We'll go for the warrior configuration again, and we will release that. So that's all the stuff that I want to get into a config file for a contract. We've got a mixture of base game kit with the 2 on the end and mods with these guys here. And that should show you everything you need to set up a config for any mission type. So let's save the game. It's important that you save it. And then we'll get out of the game and we'll get into doing the edits you need to do. But take 2 of doing this because I forgot to turn on screen capture. So we're in our mods folder, we're going to go into the better contracts folder, into mission vehicles, and we're going to rename the sample user defined file to just user defined. And we're going to open that in Notepad++. And you'll see there's a bunch of information in here. You can leave this in if you want. Gives you some example configs to work from. And you'll need to download the Valistat Sprint R300S for it to work. We're going to leave some of this information in, but we will be deleting most of it. The next thing that we need to get is our save game vehicles.xml file. So I'm using save game 12 for this. And I've hopefully recreated the config properly, because it was only when I was editing that I realized that I had not turned on screen capture. So we're going to open up the vehicles XML, and there is one more file that I want to have open. So we're going to go back into the mods folder, into dynamic mission vehicles, into the SDK folder, and open up a mission vehicle sample. And that's everything we need. So have a quick look at this file. Because I've lost track of what I've got in the video at the moment. So if you were going to go through the process of creating complete setups for all of the possible contracts, you could change the overwrite from false to true. Setting it true means that all of the default configs will be removed and you'll just use the configs in this file. So if you have contracts where you don't have a setup, there won't be any kit available to lease. Then I have covered this in fact already, so I'm going to skip that. And what we want to do is delete all of this. I'm actually going to grab this line and I'm going to copy it and paste it up here for a second, because we will need that. Everything else we're going to delete down to the last line where it says mission vehicles. Okay. And then I want to create a silaging contract setup. That's what we created in the game. So if we go across to the mission vehicle sample file and scroll down, we'll find the mobile contracts. And we want to select all of this. So from mission to mission. So select it and then Control-C to copy. And then we're going to paste it in here. I'm not worried about the hay contracts. So I'm going to do this. But what you will see is we've got, as I spoke about, you've got mission, field size, the mission and type. So the mission type is a mobile, and then you've got field size, small, medium and large, as we had with the fertilizing setup I showed you earlier. And then we've also got variant, and here we've got variant hay or silage. If you were doing seeding, you'd have variants that looked like, scroll up here, so you've got variants: maize, potato, cotton, sugarcane, sugar beet and grain. So just pick the one that matches what you're trying to do. We're going to delete these, and then I'm going to put the same config in each one. What we want to do is I actually needed a bit more information from that example, so we're going to take it from here. It's not in there, so 1 second, bear with me. Okay, so I've just reopened an original copy of the sample user defined file. Probably worth keeping a copy of that somewhere else. And basically we're going to copy, we're going to do it from that one. We're going to copy all of that, which is what I should have copied at the start. So actually when you're blanking the file, copy the whole thing for a vehicle, preferably a mod if you want to use mods. and we're going to paste that into there so it is sitting between the two group marks, so we can just collapse it and you'll see it vanishes. Okay. We then want the vehicles.xml file that we opened up, and we're going to get the mod name because it's a mod tractor. I'll show you how to deal with non-modded stuff as well. And we're going to put the mod name in the required mod section there. We then go back and we get everything after the mod name. So in this case, it's from vehicles to the end of the XML. We're going to copy that. We're going to paste that in as the file name. Okay, we then need to get the configurations for the vehicle and select everything that has configuration, but not the brought configurations. We just want these ones. So we select those and copy them and then paste that in over the top of the bits here. And then the important bit at the moment is delete the wheel config because I have not found a way to get those to work, as I said earlier. And then I'm going to select all of those and press tab to indent them so it looks a bit nicer. And I'm going to rename that to main tractor. Okay, so that's that done. That's our 9 series. Next, we need to get the mowers in. Again, they are from mods. So we go back to vehicles, scroll down to our mowers. There we are. This is the first one. So we get the mod name again. Copy it, paste it in here, go back to vehicles and get the file name, and again we want everything after the mod name, so there we go, that's what we're selecting. I'm going to copy that, I'm going to paste that in there, and then we'll get the configurations, just the two. We'll copy those and paste those over that. And then I want to indent them again because it looks better. And then we'll rename that to front mower. And then we just keep repeating the process. So we copy that one and we'll grab the rear mower. Mod name is the same, so we don't need to change it. And we're going to grab all of that. And then we change the file name to that file. And we need to get the configs and copy and paste those in. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to select it all and press tab to indent it and rename that to rear mower. So next we need to grab the baler. So again, we're going to copy the previous vehicle, paste it in. Just going to put another empty space there just to make it look neater, and we'll go into the vehicles file and grab the fast baler. That is a mod, so we need to get the mod name first and paste that in. That's correct, and then into there, and we'll grab fastbale.xml. Very lazy of Giants not to put that in a folder. And there we've got baler, and then we need to grab the configs. Okay. We'll grab everything except the wheels because otherwise we just have to delete it. And paste that in, and tab that across, and we just need the bale snacker and the extra tractor now. Again, we'll repeat the process. And we're going into base game equipment now, so we can delete the required mod section. Make sure that you leave the pointy bracket at the end. So let's go into the vehicles file again, and this time we want to copy everything that's in file name. Paste that into file name, and then we need to add a $. In front of the data. That tells the game where to look. It tells it that it's the default data folder for data. Then we're going to grab the configurations And for this, we just need the fill unit configuration because we don't want the wheel configuration. And we'll tab that in. Too far. Something is not right there. Do that again. We'll select it all and we'll paste it in. Tab it across and rename that as bale stacker. I know it's technically not a bale stacker. It's probably a bale collector. But... And then we need to do the tractor. Again, it's base game, so we're just going to take it from here. Scroll down, grab the full file name. And paste that in here. And then we need the dollar data symbol again. Dollar, not percent. And then the configs, and again, we'll get everything except the wheels. And then select it and tab it in. And that is our second tractor. Okay, if you just want to check that you've got all of the kind of layout right, you can use the little minus symbol here and it'll collapse it down. So you can see that it's collapsing the individual items, and then in the group you can do the same thing, so we can collapse the small silage down, and there you go, it all goes. Now what we want to do is select all of what we've just added in, because I want to put it in for medium and large. So we're going to select that line, we're going to make some space, and we're going to paste it in, and we're going to check the same. Does it collapse for medium? It does, and it just leaves the large. And then we'll do the same thing here. You can select the end of the line if you want, put in a couple of spaces, and then we'll paste it in. And then again, you can collapse it to make sure it's in the right place, and we're good. So let's save that, and we'll go into the game and see what it looks like. So we're back on Calmsden, and there is a grass working field on field 7 that uses our configuration. What we're first going to do is set the store deliveries point, so that is Alt, Shift and S, and that should set our store delivery point to the field. You can see it's just cropped up on the map. So let's go into the contracts menu and borrow the items, and there we go. Slightly in the hedge, but there is our Deutz 9 series, our 2 Vicon mowers, our Vicon fast bale, our Anderson bale stacker, and our Deutz 7 series, all in 2 Deutzes in Warrior config, and the pink bale wrap on the back. Okay. I'm going to show you one more config. We're going to do a simple ploughing or cultivating config, I think. So I'll get to that, and we'll get all the kits set up and show you in the XML. So let's get to work on that one. Okay, so we're going to have a look now at doing another setup. We just did the silage bale setup. Actually, I did that a few days ago. It's taken me a few days to get this video recorded, but it means that the Kubota DLC has come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Kubota DLC tractor. So you'll get to see how to use DLC equipment in contracts, and releasing on the same day as the Kubota DLC should be the Kubota Implements pack, so you could use that as well. It's not available yet because I'm recording this before that comes out, but let's get into the shop and lease our setup. And we're going to go for the biggest Kubota tractor, which is a medium tractor, the M8. We're going to get it in the biggest engine size, which is the 200 horsepower version. So it's going to lease that. Then we're going to find a plow to go with that, and it would probably make sense. It needs 220 horsepower. That's really annoying, because obviously, maybe not obviously, Kubota own Kverneland, so it would make sense if the tractor could pull the plow. But in that case, we will go for the Agromaz 2.5 meter plow. So we'll lease that as well. And then we probably want a front weight. I quite like this one, and I don't have any modded ones installed, so it's a shame they haven't added Kubota Orange to a bunch of these. So I am going to go for Jet Black. So that's our ploughing setup. Let's save the game and go out and edit the XML files to add it in. So we're back out of the game. I have got open the vehicles.xml file for the save game, the user defined file from Better Contracts, and then the mission vehicles sample file from the dynamic mission vehicles as we had for the previous setup. I'm going over it again because it's been a couple of days since I recorded the first bit, so it'll be seamless for you. It's not so much for me. And because we want to do a ploughing setup, I've just got the little bit for ploughing out of the mission vehicles sample file, and we're going to copy that and paste it into our user defined file. And then we need to grab the config for a vehicle and drop that in here as well. Tab that across so it looks neater. Because the Kubota is a DLC, it actually behaves like a mod. So what we need to do is we need to copy the mod name and put that in the required mod section. And then we need to copy from the vehicles.xml from vehicles forwards, like we did if it was a mod. So if we copy and paste that in here, and then again, we want to grab the configuration information. So we'll copy that, paste that in. And again, as before, we are just going to delete the wheel config. I have not worked out how to get that to work yet. So that's our tractor. I'm just going to grab one of these simpler ones for the plow and the weight. If we paste that in, it's not a mod, they're base game, so we can delete that bit. And then if we go into the vehicles.xml file again, just copy that bit and paste it here. And then we need to put the dollar in front of the data, and then we'll grab the configuration information. Again, I am going to delete the wheel config section, just because that seems to cause issues when I do things. And then we're going to copy it again and put the weight in. There we go. And what I'm going to do for bigger jobs is we're going to have multiples. Put the dollar back in. We'll correct that to a plow, that to a weight. Grab the configs for the weight. The one, and that's just going to be the color. Paste that in there. Tab it across so it looks nice, and then we'll just check that that folds up. Yep, that's okay. So what I'm then going to do is select that all and copy it and paste it into the medium section. I have, for some reason, I managed to delete the quotation marks there. Just put those back. Nice thing about Notepad++, it does highlight when you make errors. And then we're going to, we also deleted the, there we go. We'll paste that in there, and then we'll just check again that the group wraps up just fine. I think that this kind of plow is probably okay for a medium plowing contract. And then in the large one, we're going to paste it in twice. There we go. So we'll have 2 plows and 2 tractors for the large contract. So let's save that, and we'll reload the game, and we'll try and get a plowing contract. So back in the game, I have slept until September, so there were some fields harvesting. God, I wish I could do that in real life. So we've got a plowing contract, and it's a large field, so it's got the double setup. So if we borrow the items for that, there we go. And this is actually pretty much my first look at the Kubota DLC, but yeah, I think that's kind of cool for a plowing contract. It would be really nice if that Kubota mod pack that is due to come out later today had it so the Kubota plow could be used with the Kubota tractors if they just tweak that horsepower requirement down a little bit. But we'll see. I guess you'll see by now, because I'm recording this on Tuesday, and the video's not going to release until Wednesday or Thursday. So that's how this works. It's lots of XML editing. If you find you try and do it and it doesn't work, check your log file. Might do a follow-up video on how to deal with things not working in this, but if you find that when you do it, it's not looking right, check the log file. It's probably you've copied and pasted some information wrong, or you've got paths wrong for things. If you're trying it and you need help, comment below. I'll try and help. It's not really great on YouTube, or join my Discord and go into the FS help channel, and I'll see if I can help, basically, unless there's loads of questions, and then you'll probably get answers like start again from the beginning. You can do this for pretty much any type of contract that exists. I have just shown you a silage one and a ploughing one. You can do it with harvesting and things like that. As I said at the start, be aware about how much space you've got to spawn kit. I had to play around with doing 2x9s with 250-foot headers. Really hard to get all that to spawn, you know, if you think how much space you've got. But you probably don't need 2x9s with 250-foot headers. It's really good for setups like this. You know, and this would be awesome using Courseplay. That's probably what the thumbnail was. You know, if you want to get 2 sugar beet or potato harvesters, really good for that. I would definitely use stored deliveries for that kind of thing, because you know, said at the start, you can get rid of the header trailers and you can get them delivered to the field, which is saving you spawn space. The important thing with these contracts, if you're starting to add in a lot of kit, is how much space there is to spawn things. There are some other features of better contracts that I'm going to do another video on as well, to do with how much money you earn with the contracts. I think, and I haven't played with it yet, but I think that's in there. So I'm going to have a look at that as well, and that will be a follow-up video. So thanks for watching. If you found it useful, click the like button. Really helps out. Leave me a comment below. If you're not, subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel, I have YouTube channel memberships enabled and Patreon. If you join the Patreon, you get to be involved in helping me think about how I put these kind of videos together, because I tend to ask questions on there, and you get an exclusive Let's Play series. I think that's it. Catch you next time.